What's up, John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. So I'm actually here in Italy in Cinque Terre. I'm in Rio Maggiore, basically one of the 5 cities here in Cinque Terre. Just got here this evening or this afternoon on a train from Rome. Rome was pretty cool, but this city's really interesting. A lot cooler, like temperature-wise, and some pretty awesome sights. I would show you, I mean, I'll try. But it was kind of dark by the time that I got to shooting videos today. But anyway, I was thinking about a topic when I was walking around Rome because it was pretty hot and humid and kind of miserable with the temperatures, maybe like 90 degrees Fahrenheit with pretty high humidity. And I was thinking about how, as I was starting to get irritated and, you know, starting to lose my cool a little bit, which is something that doesn't usually happen with me. I'm usually pretty steady, but starting a little bit, you know what I mean? Some of the things that were starting to irritate me, and just my presence was sort of not exactly what I like it to be. I was thinking about this kind of idea that is basically that whatever essentially you are at your worst, under the worst conditions, that's what you are at your best. So if you think about that, what that means, and what I mean by that is that essentially, like, a lot of times we try to think of ourselves as who we are at our best, and that's not true. That's who we're capable of. So at your best, who you are tends to be kind of who you're capable of becoming, but who you currently are at any given time is who you are at your worst, really not at your best. There's really no good lighting here, but so I know this is a little bit of a hard pill to swallow, but there's some good to this, right? Which essentially is this, is that the times when you can actually really improve yourself, improve your temperament and your character come from when you're at your worst. And so it's kind of one of those reasons why it's good, right? I've done some videos on why, like, I do hard stuff and why it's good to kind of challenge yourself and not take the easy path. You can check out some of those videos. But that's one of the good reasons why it makes a lot of sense. See, I found a street light here. But it makes a lot of sense to challenge yourself and to do things that are going to make you uncomfortable, even just for the sake of being uncomfortable, because the more time that you spend in that state, the more that you actually are able to improve yourself in the character that you exhibit, right? In the way that you act, the way that you hold yourself and carry yourself, right? Because you can really seem like you have it all put together, and then when some difficulty comes your way, when you're uncomfortable, when it's hot, when you're cold, when you're tired, when you're hungry, you get grumpy. You start acting in a different way. You lose your discipline. You lose your patience, right? All of these things fall apart. And so it's good to put yourself in those situations purposely, on purpose, and to remind yourself that that's really the true level of who you are. And here's why. You know, you might say, well, no, that's not really fair. That's not really the true level of who you are, but it really is. And I'll tell you why, and I'll also tell you why you can improve in that situation. Think of it as gold, right? I mean, maybe you've heard this analogy before. So if you imagine, you know, your personality, character traits as gold, it's hard to shape it. It's hard to remove the impurities unless you've got some amount of, unless you melt it down, right? When they melt gold down, the way they get rid of the impurities, it is with precious metals, silver, I believe, as well, is that they melt it down and then they take the dross off the top. And yeah, you've probably heard, you know, maybe this same thing said in maybe a Bible study or something like that, or a Bible story, right? Making that comparison, because it's a really good comparison, right? It's the turmoil, the hard stuff. But in the same respect, you don't see the real shape of something, right? I mean, the true shape, the true thing that something's made out of, is what how it performs under that heat, under that pressure, in the crucible, if you will. And so, you know, I was just thinking about that as I was not demonstrating what I would say is the best of my character, of what I'm capable of, and I realized, you know, again, you can be upset and you can make excuses. Most people say, well, you know, I wasn't feeling well. I was feeling sick, or I was hungry, or I was tired, or I was hot. And those are, pretty good excuses. I did this video on letting yourself off the hook, and you can use those excuses to let yourself off the hook, not just in how you act and how you behave, but in also your discipline, right? You could say, well, I didn't work out because I wasn't feeling well, or I didn't do what I had intended to do business-wise in my career, didn't read today, didn't write today, whatever it was, because of these circumstances. Or what you can do is you can flip that around. You can say, look, here's an opportunity, right? Every time that there's a stumbling block in my way, I want to see an opportunity. And so you could say, well, here's an opportunity, here's a chance to actually improve the quality of what I made, it, right? The fire is hot, things are melting down, and so now I can I can scoop the impurities off of the top, right? I can spend some time working on that, making sure that what I'm doing, right, and the way that I'm acting, that I'm improving, right? And that's the only opportunity that you really have to that. When things are going really well, when things are going their best, you don't really have that opportunity. So anyway, just a couple of thoughts there. Just like I said, as I was walking through Rome and it was hot and it's hungry and tired and not the ideal conditions necessarily, I was thinking about these things, and especially thinking about the kind of Spartan mindset, thinking about a Stoic kind of philosophy, and it's sort of that, right? So I have sort of a, how can I say it, like a reinvigoration that when I get home to San Diego, when I'm done with this trip, that I'm going to push things even further, that I'm going to make myself a little bit more uncomfortable, take my training even further, because it's not just training the body, right? It's training the mind, it's training the personality. And so giving yourself harder and harder challenges, making yourself go through more difficult things, more painful things, more strenuous things, that's going to, get rid of, it's going to melt things down. It's going to get rid of that surface layer, and you're going to see the true personality underneath. And now you've got the chance to shape it and mold it, right, and reform it. And you can do that over and over again. And that's how you build up grit. That's how you build up that true sense of character. So there you have it. That's my thought for today. If you like this video, make sure you click the subscribe button below. Make sure you click the bell so you don't miss any of my videos as I'm traveling through Europe. And I promise that some of my videos in Cinque Terre, I'll actually have some actual beautiful backgrounds, not just shooting them at night. Talk to you next time. Take care.